Hello guys, GobbleLego here, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising set review, and this is of set number 71822, the Source Dragon of Motion. So this set retails for £129.99 in the UK, contains 6 minifigures, and comes with 1,716 pieces. So without further ado, let's move on to the set. Some first impressions, you can see the absolute magnitude of this set and how big it actually is. Just to give you an idea, the actual wingspan of this set is 74 centimeters. So it is the largest LEGO Ninjago Dragon and largest LEGO Dragon in general ever to be made. So just going to give you a bit of an overall look before we take the camera a little bit closer so you can get more detailed look at the set itself. But yeah, you can see just how massive it is. I've got the camera set up quite far just to fit the whole thing in frame, but you can see from head to tail and from wing to wing, this set is absolutely ginormous. But I feel that's what makes it really unique, and also probably one of the best, and probably the best LEGO Dragon that they've ever made. So yeah, I'm going to set the camera up a little bit closer and just show you a little bit more in depth the different parts of the build. So first up, we're just going to take a look at the head build and the neck area. So as you can see, we've got the new sort of style of the half moulded pieces, half brick built. But I really like the pieces that they use using the sort of more sleek dragon design with the sort of earth dragon lower jaw piece in gold. And obviously the main colour scheme is obviously red and dark red, but I like the golden accents that they've got in here, making it feel very regal. But this is an all new obviously print for this piece here with these sort of golden eye bridges with some yellow eyes. It looks really cool, some scaling. And I really like how they've used the Season 2 climbing hooks for the sort of horns of the dragon, just giving them a really elegant sort of look, almost like antlers almost. So that's really cool. It's never been seen on any other dragon before. And they've just used a lot of sort of stacking techniques to sort of get a scaly look, especially on these gold pieces here. And on the side here, they've really closed up the jaw really well, and obviously we get the standard jaw articulation in the mouth there. We got some sort of smaller horn pieces just coming off from the cheek and the bigger horns of the build. We're just on some hinge pieces, so you can actually move those about a little bit. Then moving to the neck, there actually is a sort of 3 unique segments. So you got the ball joint here where the head and neck meet. You got a secondary ball joint that sort of is a bit more restricted into just moving up and down, and a sort of ratchet socket here which can be twisted and obviously lifted up and down to a limited extent. And obviously you saw a little feature there, the sort of reins that broke off from the throne there. Yeah, we've got some simple sticker detailing here just to emulate scales, and again continue with that gold detailing along the back of the neck there, just sort of to emulate some sort of golden scales or armor plating, which is really cool. But yeah, that's the sort of head area. And obviously you can see we've got the reins just attached in there by the studs and obviously dangling there. But that sort of leads us into the next part, sort of close to the head, which is the throne. So I'm going to detach the throne, and I'm going to show you how you do that. So basically, moving the head out the way, there's a clip holding the reins to the dragon and the throne. You just basically clip that off. And there is 2 little sort of tabs on each side here, which are just held in by ratchet clips, which are just entirely held together by friction. You just unlatch those, so there's 2 on each side, and they are just connected by 2x2 sort of brown plate there. So just moving the dragon out frame so we can take a look at the throne of the build. And obviously this alone is almost like a set on itself, just because of how big it is and obviously elaborate as well. I really like it. Really obviously fits the character of Lord Raz, but also makes it a really cool standout piece that's sat on top of the dragon. As you can see, the sort of main colour scheme here is black, with these sort of lots of spiny pieces and lots of spikes as well, giving it a really sort of menacing look to it, and obviously fits the aesthetic of the Shadow Wolves. But yeah, a lot of spike pieces like these tooth pieces here and the smaller ones here just coming out from the side. And I really like how they've got the Gong of Shattering held up here. It's actually suspended by chains, so it actually does move around, which is really cool. And that is the same print that came in the sets earlier this year, so it's nice to see it again reused in this wave of sets. And then we've just got some stickered banners here on each side on those dark blue Nexonite pieces. And as well have a really cool small wolf head build, which is on some sort of Technic piece, so it can be moved up and down to sort of not really much reason, to be honest, other than just the way it's connected, but you can move it up and down obviously. And they've achieved the sort of face of a wolf really well with the limited amount of pieces that they used. But yeah, That's the sort of exterior details. Then going to the actual throne, it's sort of like dark blue mixed with magenta, and that's obviously where Lord Ras is going to sit, or you can stand him up as well. I mean, you've got some text on the side here, which are sticker details, and there are 2 clips at the back which hold Lord Ras's hammer. If I could fix it, so yeah, that's his hammer attached there on a little clip there. And there is some additional space here if you want to populate it with a couple more minifigures, but it is obviously going to be a bit of a dense network of characters if you're trying to put a few in there. You'll probably get away with 2 to 3, maybe at the most, in there by actually attaching them to the studs. But it's nice, there's a little bit of room for more minifigures. Obviously, in this instance, I've just got Jordana up there. So yeah, that's the sort of head detail in the throne build. So let's move on to the rest of the build. So I'm just going to show you the back detailing now, as well as some part of the wings, but I'll go into more depth with the wings here in a moment. But I'm just going to hold the camera because of just how long this build actually is. But you can see a lot of just sort of nice greebling details along the back here, obviously mostly in red. It's a bit difficult to see on the camera because of the light, but there are some translucent sort of cheese wedge pieces in orange there, just to emulate sort of scales and spikes go along the back of the dragon in there. Obviously this is supposed to be like a source dragon, but it's obvious that they've gone for the fire aesthetic for this one. But yeah, the back detailing is really nice. It's all nice and rounded and finished really well. There's no like open gaps or whatever, and it looks really nice. And this is obviously where the throne attaches if you don't want to attach it there. Obviously it looks a little bit out of place with that brown piece there, but it's obviously the simplest modification. If you don't want it, just take it off, and then it just looks absolutely perfect from the back there. And you would think just the amount of red on this colour would make it a sort of blur into one bit, but I really like the different shades of red that they're using, obviously with the dark red, and obviously the accents with the orange pieces as well is really, really cool. But you can just see, just from an over-the-top view, how big the wingspan of the dragon actually is. I don't even think it's fully in frame there, but that is pretty much the wings fully extended to the maximum extent. That is just absolutely insane. And obviously these are vinyl pieces, obviously all brand new for this dragon, custom molded or whatever. But again, just emphasizing that fiery detail on there. But yeah, the back is really nice, and obviously the detail is obviously translated to the rest of the build as well. It's just like so insane with the set. But that will bring us to some more articulation. There's actually a waist articulation point, or sort of a mid-body point. So if I set the camera down, there is a little bit of articulation in the body where you can just basically move it from side to side, so you can get a bit more organic motion in the dragon there. But it's really nice how they've done that. It's heavily reinforced as well with a lot of the sort of mech joint pieces. Really difficult to see in there, but sort of there they've just stacked a bunch of them together, and that obviously makes it really strong, and obviously it's not going to break on you, and it gives you some extra movement even for the size of this dragon. So now let's move on to the actual wing apparatus. So it's going to be a bit difficult to show the wing entirely, but I'm going to sort of show you here the sort of main structure of the wing. So they've done a nice job of obviously detailing it. Obviously the main base of the wing is quite thick, obviously, to house the actual wing itself. But there are some articulation points. So there's on this sort of ratchet socket, it can go up and down. You can twist them, obviously to a limited extent, because it obviously is blocked by the foreleg. But you can twist them backwards and forwards, and there's another articulation joint which actually is really helpful in actually displaying and storing this set. You know, that actually the ability, oh, the horn is right in the way, to compress the wings down. So there's another one of those mech joint pieces here, and you can just start folding it in. So obviously they can only go so far before it's stopped by these sort of winglet pieces, these little spikes down here. But it just gives you the idea of how much you can actually pose and do with this set, to where you can actually sort of give it a lot of life and motion by changing how you want the drag to look. Obviously you can have the wings fully extended out, you can have them a little bit compressed, obviously to your heart's desire with this one. So they've done a really good job at actually giving some play features with obviously to what they're limited to do with just a dragon build. But there's so many articulation points, especially just in the limbs and whatever, to where you can do a lot with this set. So I've just got it set up in a way where they're sort of curled in, but you can then obviously, like a minute ago, fully extend them out or just compress them in completely. Sort of similar to what they did with the Legacy Fire Dragon, but obviously seeing as they're not fabric, they haven't done it in the way where you just collapse it in completely. So it is still a little bit limited, but it's a really nice feature. And obviously a problem with this dragon obviously is the size of it, but they've done a nice compromise of being able to make it a little bit smaller just with some articulation points. So here is the front legs, and obviously the build of the front legs are the exact same on each side, so I'll only show you one. But we've got some nice armour detailing here and some gold pieces with that. I'm pretty sure that's the new neck piece that was introduced in January this year, or March rather. But yeah, that's just sort of attached by some studs. We've just got a Source Dragon emblem on a sticker there. And they've done a really nice job of using lots of rounded pieces to round off the shoulder and make it look extremely organic. And again, we get a little bit of limited mobility, obviously, just because of the size of the dragon. You can only really move the leg backwards and forwards, because trying to move it out and whatever would probably give some stability issues, but obviously we still get some articulation even for the size of this thing. It's insane. And just coming down to sort of like the calf area, we got a Evo mech joint piece and just some rounding of some plates on the back of it just to keep it flush, and there's a lot less anti-stud showing, so I'll just show you the back a little bit there. And you sort of see it's sort of like a split tone design where the top half is majority bright red, and then as you go down it goes to that dark maroon red colour. So that's really cool. And the feet are really nicely detailed as well, with 3 golden claws at the front there, and again really nicely tiled and rounded off with these sloped pieces. So that's the front leg. Then moving to the hind leg, same sort of scenario with the mobility. You're restricted to mostly backwards and forwards, there's no lateral movement at all. But obviously there's a bit more of an exaggerated angle when it comes back here, sort of like a lizard's leg. And that's really cool, again using these sort of rounded dome pieces just to round off the shoulders and the knees and whatever. And they've done a really good job of putting some detail on the inside of the knee or the front of the knee with these golden pieces here, so you can sort of imagine where the kneecap is where like armour plating is on that gold pieces. Then the foot is just a little bit smaller using these smaller claw pieces, which are the mech finger pieces from earlier this year. And yeah, they've done another good job of just rounding it off with some sloped pieces just to give it a more organic, sort of majestic look rather than looking very blocky. And that obviously allows us to look at some of the torso detailing again, using a lot of different sloped pieces to give you an idea of how scaly, and obviously it's supposed to be like a reptilian dragon, just that it's just like really cool and doesn't look very flat or whatever. There's lots of nice curvature and sort of texture to the build. And then this will also bring us to another part of the build which is quite substantial. I have to move the head out with the way. It's sort of the chest and the belly of the build, and they've done this really nicely here using a lot of these golden pieces. This is really difficult for me to show with the equipment I got, but they've tiled off the whole of the belly here, so there's no anti-studs other than the tail, but we'll exclude that, using a lot of the golden pieces here just to really finish off the belly, and so there's not a piece of detail missed on this build whatsoever. And that's really cool to see, especially for a build this big. There's been no compromise whatsoever in terms of detail, and I really appreciate the designers for that. It's so cool. And then the final part of the build, and one of the nicest pieces, is the tail, and they've done a really good job of keeping some articulation in here. So there's multiple segments. As you can see, I accidentally broke one off, just mostly held by 2 mixel joints, so they are heavily reinforced, because I think if they used just one it'd be really droopy and obviously sag under the weight of the tail. But the base of it is on another one of those socket pieces, those double socket mech joint pieces, so you can get 360-degree motion. There's no left and right, but you can move it up and down obviously, so you can get a little bit of character in the tail there. Again with those sticker detailing which are similar to the scales in the neck, just to sort of give it a little bit of pop of colour on that dark red piece, and again using those translucent orange pieces just to look like little spines along the back of the tail. And they've used a crystallized blade piece there for the basically tip of the tail, and that's in an all new dual molded colour of this sort of dark red and translucent orange, just to obviously give it a nice finish to the tail, and obviously use less pieces I suppose, but it gives it a nice look. I really like it there. And obviously you can get a lot of mobility in the tail just because of how many different segments there are. You can obviously move it a lot and obviously get lots of different poses with it, and obviously if you want to you can slightly detach them to get more of a curl in the tail. But yeah, there's so much you can just do with this set, it's insane. And again, like I just mentioned previously, even just for the size of the build, there's no bit of detail that's been missed out on this set at all. But yeah, just again give you another overall look at the set, if I move the camera back, just to reiterate the absolute sheer size of this thing. It's just absolutely monstrous. And even without the throne on there, it's still just such an impressive footprint of a set. Sorry, I'm just fiddling with the wing there, but it's just absolutely insane. And if we reattach the throne again, it's a bit difficult. There is a slot on there, but I won't fully attach it. But it just absolutely amplifies the size of the set just by adding that throne. I really love that about it, and obviously it gives it nice extra detail, and it's not just one build. So that's mostly the build of the dragon. So without further ado, let's move on to the minifigures. So here is our first minifigure, and this is the all-new Tournament of Sorcerers Aaron minifigure. So this is his first unique new ninja suit since his introduction in 2023. And just going over his weapon, it's just his grappling hook sort of rubber piece, just on a golden hilt piece, but I won't talk about that much. But yeah, they've done a really nice job here using a lot of these, the sort of orange in his light sort of yellow-orange colour, sort of blended together really well, and as well with some light dark blue in there, so it's a nice way to break it up than just being entirely sort of orange and yellow. Obviously with that half mask piece on his belt there. We've got some nice little sort of pocket detailings, a little dragon here. And he does also come with a new scabbard shoulder pad piece, sort of where it's sort of like a bit of a dragon scale or whatever. And he comes with the wakizashi and the katana. So obviously the wakizashi is obviously a new piece for this wave, and it's really cool to get more of. His hair piece is the same as we've seen before, as well as his face print hasn't changed much at all. It's the exact same one we've been getting, obviously just that simple smile there with some scratches on his face. And taking him apart even more, you can just see he has his own logo on the back there. So, a very simple minifigure, but a really nice addition to the set. Here's our next minifigure, and this is Kai. Obviously, I've reviewed him on the channel before, but because he does also come in the tournament set, so I won't spend too long on him. He comes with the exact same weapon build he gets in that set, which is just a sort of dual-bladed sort of katana wakizashi on a golden hilt there. But again, just to reiterate from my last video, I really love these new ninja minifigures. I love the sort of dragon scale detailing with the sort of dark red scales there. That little source dragon emblem sort of tag on him. And it's just awesome to see a sort of modern rendition of what the tournament suits would look like in the newer style. Obviously we get his headband hairpiece. The Ninjago movie face piece, obviously covered up by the head mask, face mask rather, sorry. So I'll just remove that for you. Obviously what we've been getting since 2017, so we're not seeing the new faces that they introduced with last year. And he also comes with the new shoulder pad piece, and showing the back detail, and he's just got a source dragon with his emblem in there. That's the only thing I'd say about the Aaron and Sora minifigures, is that they don't get a source dragon with their sort of emblem. It's just their emblem only, which I don't know why they've done that, but that's a difference I've sort of noticed. So that is Kai. Here is our next minifigure, that being Wildfire in a new design, which we did see earlier in the year in 2023. But yeah, it's great to see a new version of Wildfire. Obviously, all the sort of ninja now are getting new designs, sorry. So obviously separates her from her original release, but this one's really cool. She comes with a brand new hairpiece unique to her, just in that bright red colour. It looks really cool. Obviously a little bit different to her Chang'an piece from before. But I really like the detailing that they've got here with these dark red robes with some sort of thatched detailing here with the armor piece as well, which really sets her apart from the other ninja, makes her feel really unique. And she's got a really cool flame emblem on the back there, which is something jargon. I would assume that's got some sort of correlation to her name or something, if the camera would focus. And a little sort of flame spirit on the back, which really reminds me of Adventure Time, so that's really cool to see. But she does sort of follow the same sort of design philosophy of the Tournament Ninja, sort of be having no sleeves and whatever. But she doesn't have a face mask, because I don't think it would actually fit on her just because of her hairpiece. But you never know. She does have the same face print though from before, with just the sort of simple angry face print. No secondary face print, which is a bit of a shame, even though she has an opportunity to get one with the hair covering up the back. But she doesn't, and her main accessory is the sort of flame fire blast pieces. Similar situation to Kai, we have the new Wolf Warrior minifigure, but obviously this did come in another set I've reviewed on the channel, so I won't spend too long on him. But it's really cool to see a new version of these Wolf Warriors, and they are in their purple and red colour scheme, which I find is really cool. But he comes with another one of those really cool blade pieces, which is dual moulded in sort of gunmetal grey and translucent red, so it's cool to get these. You actually get two of these in this set, which is really good. And just sort of giving you a look at the sort of detailing of his torso there. Oh, sorry, I budged the camera. And he's got the two massive sort of claw arms, which are new pieces, I believe, for this wave, just moulded in trans red there. So that's really cool, and they have a bit of articulation beyond this sort of neck bracket piece from the Avengers sets, with some red claws in the end, so you can imagine he's sort of slashing away with those, plus with his sword, so he's a really menacing opponent to come against with the ninja. And we also get a brand new version of Jordana for this wave. So we obviously saw her introduced in the start of Season 2 in terms of sets. But yeah, she's got a sort of really nice sort of armor design, which is similar to Cinder from the tournament set. If I grab him quickly. So they sort of have a very similar design here, but she's got much more armor plating, where his is more sort of like robes. And I really like how they've done it here, where they've sort of layered and textured it a little bit with these sort of different armor segments, sort of almost like it's giving her some sort of more mobility or whatever. And she's got hints of purple in there with sort of that sash around her waist. And again, her main sort of colour scheme is sort of this gunmetal grey, which is obviously really unique for these minifigures. Not really a colour scheme you really see for Ninjago other than Nia's movie minifigure. And turning her to the back, she's got the sort of crescent wolf thing on the back there in red and this translucent sort of magenta colour, which is really cool. And she's got that, I'm pretty sure it's the Shatter Spin armour, and it's just sort of printed, moulded in silver, sorry. And she does come with one of those really cool new blade pieces, which is awesome to get. So now I have 3 of those, which is great. Removing her hair piece, so you can see her 2 faces. You've got a really big smirk there. And then her second face, she's just sort of disgruntled and sort of angry. But yeah, that is Jordana. The last and probably the best minifigure in this set is being an all-new version of Lord Ras. So with the Lord Ras minifigures, we've never not seen a bad one. And again, this is probably, I would say, the best one that they've done so far, and a lot of other people are saying that. But first I'll take a look at its accessory. It's just this hammer build with some simple piece with these triangle pyramid pieces up here and a little spike at the bottom. But moving to the minifigure, this minifigure is absolutely awesome. So we have his signature head mold piece, obviously with this sort of red face paint on there, which is different to some of his other ones with the purple from beforehand. But yeah, it's really cool to get a new head mold, or head print rather, for him. But again, we see the return of his arm printing with these sort of bright blue braces with some epic red tiger stripes there, and again on his chest. And he's got a nice sort of rope belt around here. And this figure, like, even though he's from the realm of Chima, this figure specifically reminds me of the original Chima sets from 2013. It really feels like he fits with those figures from that time. Obviously, before he had the Imperium aesthetic, and then after he had the sort of Wolf Shadow Dojo character aesthetic. But now he definitely feels like he's sort of like his own thing. He's sort of separated from those affiliations with this minifigure. But yeah, that's the sort of main thing I want to say about this figure, is that it really reminds me of Chima, and I love that fact about him. And he's got his armor piece that he's been getting for, I think, since the March wave of sets, which are really cool, with these sort of jagged spikes on his shoulders, which make him look really menacing. And again, with some more with that bright blue detailing with some sort of necklace sort of build there. Moving the armor, it's quite stuck on there, Jesus Christ. And we just got a sort of look like it's supposed to be the Gong of Shattering on there, but just the wolf insignia in that gunmetal grey reflective colour. Yeah, this is definitely the best minion figure in this set, and I believe it's the cheapest way at the moment to get him. So that's all the minifigures, so let's move on to my final thoughts. Before we do that, actually, I forgot to mention you do get a couple of these mini Source Dragon builds. So it's the new sort of moulded dragon piece in translucent orange, and they're just all held on by this sort of translucent piece with some clip pieces. So they're all the exact same, but you get 6 of them here, so it's really cool. It's definitely safe to say this is the best looking Ninjago dragon of all time. Just because the absolute sheer size of it and the detail on this set is absolutely insane. Definitely can't say a bad word about it. I suppose maybe the price is a little bit expensive for some people, but I feel like for what you're getting 6 really cool minifigures, 2 of which I would say are definitely standouts, being Aaron and Lord Ras, but also just the actual size of the build that you're getting. I feel like it's definitely a product that's worth £130, and just ignoring the piece count as well. 1,700 pieces for £130 is absolutely crazy. If that was a LEGO Stars UCS set, it would definitely be about 200, and obviously you get these mini dragons as well, so you get a bit more added value. And it's not just the dragon you're getting as well, it's also this big throne build, which could also be a set on its own just because of how big it is, and obviously how cool it looks as well, and just adds a nice bit of detail to the build as well. So if you want to check out some more LEGO Ninjago videos on my channel, I will leave some on a pinned screen after this video, and without further ado, that's going to be all from me, and goodbye.